millions of you have already fallen off The Walking Dead, wondering how many spin-offs we're going to continue to get after the mainline show ended. Well, after they were announcing all these spin-offs, there was one that I just cared about the most, and that was The Ones Who Live, my most anticipated show for 2024. I am a diehard Walking Dead fan. I love the comics, and I adored the TV show. I know it fell apart a little bit by season 7, 8, and really never recaptured everyone, but that show, for the highs of its high, it left me in a spur and made me fall in love with watching television every single week and really showed me what television can be. And you know, I know with House of the Dragons and so many other shows coming out this year, I know a lot of you are probably like, really, this was your most anticipated show for the year? And I genuinely mean it, yeah. I wanted to see Rick and Michonne back. I wanted to see them reunite, get those goosebumps, and where that was going to go. Because when The Walking Dead had ended, that was my one disappointment watching that show was, oh, we never got to see them. And then you get the post-credit scene, and it's like, oh, there's Andrew Lincoln trying to make his escape and kind of finally tying in everything going on here. So this is a non-spoiler review, though, for The Ones Who Live. Not going to be getting into spoilers, and as a full discretion, as of filming this, I only did get the first 3 episodes. I have a wedding coming up, so I do not have time to watch the last 3. They have not provided them yet, but they will be shortly. I will be doing a follow-up video to layer out my thoughts closer to the finale of this entire season, how I personally feel like that they ended this series and how I overall felt on it. So do look forward to that, Walking Dead fans, as well as I'll also be doing a ranking of all the Walking Dead shows so far, all the spin-offs, every little thing, including the mainline show as well. But if you don't know what The Ones Who Live is about, it's the love story between Rick and Michonne, changed by a world that is consistently changing. They will find themselves in a war against the living, or will they discover that they too are the Walking Dead? Now again, this is Rick Grimes, he's returning. Michonne, same thing, returning here. This is their love story. It's their reuniting and everything that we're needing to see there. And you know, like I said, this is a non-spoiler review. Clearly, you know, if you're watching this, that they're going to reunite at some point in time. So I won't get fully into that, how that all works, where it plays out in that. I'm going to be pretty vague when I talk about the first 3 episodes, but what I want to say is that this was the smartest thing that they could have done. And I say that is because they originally announced this as a Rick Grimes movie trilogy, and I thought that was the stupidest thing I had ever heard in my entire life. They announced it the same night that Rick's last episode was, and I was like, why? Why are you doing that? That just seems stupid. If you would have done that maybe by season 4 or 5, maybe you would have made some money in the theaters, but TV movies never really adapt too well and have like the best money. It's just been proven. Sometimes it's not, but most of the time it's not great. And I really wanted this to succeed. And I was actually in the room at Comic-Con when they announced, it was asked, is this taking place instead of the movie? And Scott Gimple said, yes. And it was an easy win. Being in the room, hearing everyone chant Andrew Lincoln and Dania Guraria's return, it was unlike anything. And this is all I've cared about, genuinely. Like, Dead City surprised me. I liked it. I didn't think I needed a Negan and Maggie spinoff, and it was actually quite enjoyable. The Daryl Dixon spinoff really surprised me. In fact, that was really enjoyable. And I think they've kind of done a good job with these character studies so far, but when I tell you that The Ones Who Live is the best thing The Walking Dead has done since like season 4, and arguably like some people might even argue like it peaked in season 1. I'm telling you right now, if you love Rick Grimes and you love Michonne, this is going to be like your new favorite thing. Even if you fell off, I would like highly recommend that you go and watch this. Watch a recap, do whatever you need to, and jump right into this. Because flat out, first off, Andrew Lincoln has never been better as Rick Grimes. I think he was such an imperfect embodiment of the character from the comics. I think he gave him his own spin and really developed it into such a fantastic manner. And Dania Gurira is phenomenal in here. I loved when we found out that they were in a relationship in this show, and I think both of them together really mean so much to one another, and it really gives you a lot of goosebumps when they get to reunite. Like, just leaving it there, it was one of my favorite TV moments in quite a while to see that happen, and to see both of them. It's a moment that all of you guys are gonna love, I promise you. But again, I love their performances. I think they're great in here. I think their chemistry is excellent. And I think the rest of the cast in here is great. I also love how they're developing the CRM. We've had so many questions about the damn government or whatever the hell this militia thing is. And it's been like a huge thing ever since Jadis was in the show. And I'm thankful that we now finally have more development on it. I know some of the other Walking Dead shows have kind of touched on this, but this feels like the most touched in of them all. And also the new cast that we have in here, like Terry O'Quinn being in here. I loved him in Lost. Great to see him here. Inside Leslie Brandt, who I think is a very interesting character to have in here and a unique ideology, because she kind of is in the same place as Rick Grimes, but she's like understanding her new home that she's in. And I'm really curious to see how the rest of the season plays out, because with only watching 3 episodes, basically the first 2 aren't recap. It's telling us where our characters have been this entire time from 2 different points of views to a certain extent. And what I loved is it's trying to play catch up. It's trying to explain, but it immediately knows what us fans want. And again, I've mentioned, you see that reuniting, and it's perfect. But what started to interest me was when we get to the midpoint of the season within episode 3, and it starts to explore ideas, explore new things in The Walking Dead. And those were the things that made me go, okay, you have me locked in. And I am really sad I don't have the rest of the season already, because I want to binge it. I want to excel. I want to dive into this, and I loved it. Again, this is not a full review. It's so vague, and I know it's very non-spoiler-ish. I just am really impressed with what they were able to do here, and I know many of you guys are probably like, talk about this, especially when the episodes are coming out, but I'm debating on doing a actual spoiler review, so let me know if you guys would be interested in that. If you're a Walking Dead fan, hitting that like button really does help. Hitting that comment and commenting down below that you want that does also help as well. I just don't know if there's actual conversation to be had about this, but I love this show so much. It's my favorite thing I've watched so far this year. Movies, TV, that'll probably change. It's so early in the year, but this is living up to all expectations and everything that I've wanted. And what I will absolutely say is, if you are a diehard comic book fan, there are certain things in here that just we have been wanting forever. And a lot of homages that finally pay off in this that really just make me happy. As for nitpicks and issues, the only 2 things so far that I have is, 1, I can already tell that this season should probably have been 8 episodes. Now, I could be wrong. I could watch the next 3 and be like, oh, yep, that feels tight and good. I felt like Dead City and Daryl Dixon did a great job with the 6-episode season. I never felt by the midpoint that like we needed any more. By this, maybe I'm just being a little bit selfish. Maybe I do just want more. But again, who knows? Do we get it a second season? Is this just a mini series? I thought Daryl Dixon was going to be a mini series, and it wasn't. I thought Dead City was going to be 1 season, and it wasn't. And now we have 2 seasons coming out for those as well. So I have no idea what they're planning for this. There's just so much excitement about it. Last nitpick is RJ. They don't mention him at all, and it's really weird. What I will say is, I understand in terms of chronological and when Rick left, he never knew about RJ. He never knew about the pregnancy. So I can kind of understand why he wouldn't be mentioning anything to Michonne, but you think Michonne would have mentioned something to him at this point. But maybe that's like the writers building up, because when we get that reunion, knowingly that we are going to get that reunion, like I would be very shocked if we didn't, between Rick, Michonne, RJ, and Judith. We know it's happening. So eventually, whenever they do, I'll be happy. I'll be excited. But that's my thoughts on The Ones Who Live. So far, I'm going to give this series an A, and I think it could easily go up to an A+, hoping that the last 3 episodes are just as good as the first 3. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below, hit that like, subscribe button, and of course, until next time, stay classy.